Mr. President, I want you to know sometimes when I watch you striding across the White House lawn so confidently, with so much masculinity, I'll admit it, I get sexually aroused. Thank you for breathing life back into my once slumbering penis.
Yeah, that was very well stated, listen.
It was Holocaust Remembrance Day. And as you know, 6 million people were at my inauguration. I mean, there were just so many people at my inauguration, but the media refuses to cover it. It's so unfair. And one day I'm going to write a memoir about this struggle and call it My Struggle.
Jimmy Kimmel and Alec Baldwin tear into Donald Trump effortlessly, mostly because the president delivers an endless stream of material on his own. Every public appearance plays like either a late-night sketch or a never-ending blooper reel. Kimmel hardly needs his team of writers, and Baldwin doesn't have to create anything new. Trump serves up the comedy himself, day after day. From press podiums to photo ops, he's turned the act of governing into slapstick theater. His performances are so over the top that even the Marx Brothers would have rejected them as too far-fetched to believe.
A handful of Republicans are siding with Democrats to force it. They want to see it all. They want to know who Jeffrey Epstein's friends are, which I have to say, I know who one of them is. He looks like this. The guy, that husky one in the pink tie yes. That is a man Jeffrey Epstein described as his best.
This is a serious private conversation between 3 friends plus 50 reporters with cameras. I'm proud to welcome Kanye West, Yeezus, Yandi, Yadam, Yosain, an amazing guy. Thank you for coming, Kanye.
Yeah, that's right. I flew here using the power of this hat.
The brilliance of this comedic duo lies in how little effort they need to put in. Trump has reshaped the presidency from commander-in-chief into punchline-in-chief. Each speech is a treasure trove of blunders. Every photo op becomes a factory for memes, and every decision feels like the setup to a joke, whose punchline is the erosion of basic dignity. Kimmel feeds on the absurdity, carving up Trump's latest missteps like a chef slicing into an overripe fruit, messy, sloppy, and spilling seeds no one ever asked for. Baldwin, on the other hand, shows up time and again to prove that no exaggerated impression is necessary when the man himself is already a walking caricature.
The disconnect, it's impossible. You can't turn him off. He won't power down. He's like Ultron. He just keeps going. Every day, it's something crazier than the next. I made a list. This is all in the last 2 months. I made you a quick list. I will run through it. He paved over the Rose Garden. He's building a golden ballroom at the White House. He's planning a UFC fight at the White House. He cut off Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection. He named himself host of the Kennedy Center honors.
It almost feels unfair how easily comedy falls in line with Trump's presidency. Past presidents demanded sharp satire, clever parody, even research to uncover the right angle. With Trump, it's as if someone dropped the script of a parody film on the Resolute desk and he decided to play it straight. Baldwin's job isn't to exaggerate, it's simply to point at reality and remind people that what they're seeing isn't a deepfake.
I have a fantastic relationship with Mexico, okay? I have personally met with the Mexican president. I forget his name. I think it was something like Mr. Guacamole. I'm sorry, excuse me, Senor Guacamole. I also met his beautiful wife, Taquito, and their twin children, Chips and Salsa.
Look at Trump's obsession with appearances. A typical leader worries about policy, strategy, maybe even diplomacy. Trump, on the other hand, fixates on crowd sizes, the volume of applause, and whether the lighting flatters him enough to look presidential. Kimmel skewers that insecurity by framing it for what it is: high school student body president energy. The difference, of course, is that this student body happens to control nuclear codes. Baldwin pushes it further, portraying a Trump who treats state dinners like casting calls for reality TV extras. It's hilarious because it's tragic, and tragic because it's true.
Bend over for Putin. He sent military tanks into Washington, D.C. He said the Smithsonian focuses too much on how bad slavery was. He called India and Norway to tell them to nominate him for a Nobel Prize. And he cut off funding for pediatric brain cancer research for children. You would think a person who himself has the brain of a child would be in favor of funding pediatric brain cancer.
And then there's Trump's peculiar gift for turning situations that should never be scandals into full-blown controversies. Most leaders do everything they can to avoid them. Trump, however, collects scandals like souvenirs from every stop on his tour. Kimmel underscores how these messes are usually self-inflicted wounds, things no rational adult, let alone a president, would ever choose to do. Baldwin plays up the absurd theater of it all, portraying a leader who can't step into a room without transforming it into a circus tent.
Brazenly pulled Epstein's wing woman, his personal madam, Ghislaine Maxwell, out of real prison last month and transferred her into what is basically a courtyard by Marriott. The woman who has all the information on everyone is suddenly in a prison that has Pilates class, thanks to President Trump, and nobody bats an eye about this.
Kimmel loves exposing Trump's obsession with rewriting reality, as if repeating it enough could make it true. But the trick never works. The rabbit he pulls from the hat is always a possum. The harder Trump insists, the more comedy lands on Kimmel's desk. Baldwin sharpens the image, portraying a president who could declare the sun purple and argue with astronomers who object. No roast is complete without Trump's bizarre relationship with facts. In his world, facts are suggestions, data is decoration, and truth is negotiable. Kimmel turns that into pure sarcasm, marveling at how Trump reshapes news cycles with claims no one believes, but everyone debates. His diplomacy is no better, insulting allies while flattering adversaries, as if world history were something he skimmed from a fast food menu.
Trump warmed up for his date with the British press by yelling at a reporter from Australia who dared to ask about the billions of dollars he's been raking in since the election.
Because appropriate President Trump said a president in office should be engaged in so much business activity.
Well, I'm really not. My kids are running the business. I'm here. You know what the activity, where are you from?
I'm from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, Four Corners Program.
Well, the Australians, you're hurting Australia, right? In my opinion, you are hurting Australia very much right now. And they want to get along with me. You know, your leader is coming over to see me very soon. I'm going to tell him about you. You set a very bad tone. Well, go ahead, John.
What a little
Baldwin plays Trump as if foreign policy were a game show where prizes go to anyone standing beside him. The roast isn't exaggeration. It's reality replayed with the laugh track it deserves. Even his economic boasts take a hit. Trump crows about victories while the numbers wobble like a Jenga tower missing half its blocks. Kimmel revels in the irony of a man claiming credit for luck, yet blaming others for failure. Baldwin heightens it with a Trump who sees graphs as abstract art, beautiful when rising, fake news when falling. Then comes Trump's endless demand for loyalty. Healthy administrations invite debate. His stage is the White House, but he runs it like New York theater. Kimmel also drives home the relentless pace of Trump scandals. One fades only for another to erupt. It's like watching someone juggle chainsaws on a unicycle over gasoline. Baldwin thrives in the madness, portraying a president who treats crisis management as improv comedy, each move stranger than the last. The chaos is the act, and the act is his legacy.
This is The Nation. Baldwin and Kimmel show it's never reassurance, it's performance art. The cadence, pauses, and grandiose claims feel less like leadership and more like open mic night at a comedy club no one wanted. Kimmel mocks the absurdity of speeches that confuse more than comfort. Baldwin heightens the strangeness, proving parody and reality blurred long ago. And while Trump paints himself as a victim of conspiracies, both seize the irony of the world's most powerful man whining like a teenager grounded from video games. Kimmel's sharpness makes the self-pity sting, while Baldwin turns it into physical comedy, an overgrown child sulking in the crown jewels of global power. It's less governance, more vaudeville, with the entire country as the audience.
I mean, just yesterday, there's this video of what seemed to be garbage bags being thrown out of the window of the Lincoln bedroom. That's the White House. The official response from the White House said it was maintenance work being done while Trump was off on one of his many golf weekends. But Trump is even contradicting his own White House now.
There is a video that is circulating online now of the White House where a window is open to the residents upstairs and somebody is throwing a big bag out the window. Have you seen this?
No, that's probably
Trump's Twitter habit, though slowed, is still a gift. Kimmel shows how every late-night rant exposes not just insecurity, but reckless impulse. Baldwin parodies a president glued to his phone, thumbs blazing like a teenager in a group chat. The punchline writes itself: a man with nuclear codes can't resist subtweeting celebrities at 3 a.m. And then come the promises, the sharpest edge of the roast. Kimmel spotlights Trump's endless vows, tossed out like party favors, grand gestures that vanished like confetti after a parade, healthcare revolutions, infrastructure miracles, debt reduction, towering walls, each one dissolved on contact with reality. Baldwin brings it to life, portraying a Trump who struts across the stage, painting castles in the sky, then demands rent for these phantom palaces. The exaggeration lands because it reflects the truth. Trump often acted as if repeating a pledge made it real, when in fact it evaporated under the weight of governance.
Today, some of the Epstein and Maxwell victims held a press conference on the steps of the Capitol to demand the release of the files and to announce that they are making their own list of men who assaulted them to release. You know, they were scared, and they're so scared to release the names, but now they have an unlikely ally from inside MAGA.
I also encouraged him already this morning that he should have these women in the Oval Office. They deserve to be there.
You spoke to him?
Yes, I did. And I told him I'd be happy to set that up, arranging with their attorney by sharing his phone number.
What was his reaction about?
I haven't got an answer back.
I'm sure he'll get back to you on that very, very soon. Is she that out of...
Baldwin stretches the illusion into farce, parodying a leader selling tickets to an amusement park that was never built. The brilliance of the roast is how easily it dismantles the facade. Promises should be a backbone of leadership, but for Trump, they were stage props. Kimmel frames it as a carnival of broken pledges, each more absurd than the last, portraying a man addicted to applause, tossing out commitments like candy, knowing the crowd will cheer even if delivery is impossible. His recurring theme is promises evaporating under the weight of reality, leaving only echoes of a salesman's pitch. The humor works because it's true. Trump saw himself as the hero of an epic drama, yet his presidency often resembled slapstick. Baldwin doesn't invent flaws, he amplifies contradictions already in plain sight.
FEMA takes a few days unless you join FEMA Prime.
What are you talking about?
Ma'am, I don't know if you know this, but you're in an island in the water. The ocean water, big ocean, with fishies and bubbles and turtles that bite. We want to help you, but we have to take care of America first.
Wait, you do know we're a U.S. territory, don't you?
I mean, I do, but not many people know that, no.
What makes the roast cut so sharply is the irony at its core. Trump sees himself as a hero, a conqueror, reformer, visionary. But in Kimmel's hands, that image unravels, replaced by a clown in the center ring, juggling promises that keep slipping away. The accuracy feels almost cruel. Comedy doesn't need to invent when the subject supplies an endless reel of bloopers. Every broken vow is a setup, every half-baked plan a punchline, every boast a reminder of rhetoric collapsing under reality. The laughter isn't forced, it's catharsis. Audiences recognize the absurdity because they've lived it, while Kimmel and Baldwin simply hold up the mirror.
Some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House.
By now, the roast of Trump's promises does more than spark laughs. It leaves a truth that lingers beyond the punchlines. Leadership isn't about slogans or declarations. It's about follow-through. Trump never mastered that. What he perfected was spectacle, promising worlds he couldn't build and feigning shock when they collapsed. For comedians, that gap between fantasy and reality is comedy gold. For the country, it's a reminder that empty castles can't shelter anyone, no matter how loudly they're advertised. In the end, the roast isn't cruel, it's accurate. Trump turned the presidency into theater of the absurd, and Baldwin and Kimmel are just the ushers pointing out the seats. As long as he stumbles through history like an endless blooper reel, they'll never run out of material.